Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Erin, I'm Queen Bee Tarot, and today we're going to do a pick-a-pile. We're going to be looking at what wheel of change am I on right now? And there's a lot of different aspects to that. Sometimes when we're stuck in the middle of a moment of change, the dominant emotion that we feel is discomfort. And discomfort shows us what we like, what we don't like. We experience clarity and we experience contrast. Anytime in life that we experience contrast, for example, things that we don't like, things that make us feel uncomfortable, what it's doing is it's bringing us to a place of clarity. Well, what do I want? What kind of life do I want to be living? So when we're stuck in the middle of change, we often can't quite see the bigger picture. So we're going to be looking at what exactly is happening for us right now. What are we being invited to let go of? What do our guides and angels see as far as the bigger picture that maybe we're not aware of because we're too stuck in it? What is the path that we're walking, including actionable steps? And what does the next chapter look like? What does the exit door look like? Are you guys ready? Let's begin. Pile 1, we have a green calcite stone. Pile 2, we have a citrine. Pile 3, we have amethyst. And pile 4, we have a cherry blossom agate. So take a minute to see which stone you feel drawn to. Again, it's green calcite is pile 1, citrine is pile 2, amethyst is pile 3, cherry blossom agate is pile 4. Welcome to your reading, pile 1. You chose the green calcite. Today we're looking at what kind of a loop are you stuck in? What wheel of change are you riding right now? Maybe you're experiencing discomfort. Maybe you're experiencing a sense of being lost. So we're going to look at what our challenge is. Where are you in the middle of this? What are you being invited to let go of? What do your guides and angels see as far as the bigger picture? What path are you walking, including actionable steps? And what does the next phase look like? Okay, wow. Pile 1. At the bottom of the deck, we have the Tower card. And the Tower card definitely tells us that whatever structures you've been building up in your life, at the moment, it feels like everything is crashing down. Now, I'm using the Rider-Waite deck here, and it's a very traumatic looking card, and often the Tower card shows up when it feels like we are in a place of crisis or trauma. So whatever you're going through, I just want to start by saying my heart goes out to you. As much as you can, extend yourself love and patience and compassion, and definitely don't push yourself too hard during this phase of your life. I want to point out something that we don't see here because we're using the Rider-Waite deck. In another deck that I have, the Everyday Witch deck, a woman she's got her magic wand and she's looking at this tower that she just knocked over with her magic, and she's going, yeah, I did that. And in that card, the tower is represented by the Leaning Tower of Pisa. So if we imagine a tower as a representation of something that we've been building up in our lives, it could be a friendship, a romance, a business, anything. And it involves long-term planning, long-term stability, and a project that has a long amount of time behind it, right? Well, if, like the Leaning Tower of Pisa, we imagine that this is a physical structure, and if we're building something in a physical reality and it turns out it's tilted, we're not going to keep going. In our lives, when we recognize that something's not right, there's no sense in continuing Often we have to tear things back down to the foundation and start over. Okay, where did we go wrong? What brick was out of place? What part of this structure was not able to support long-term growth? So as much as it feels like things are falling apart for you right now, I do invite you to take a step back and go, wait a minute, what part of this wasn't in my highest good? And how can I make this deconstruction work for me right now? What is the good that could possibly come out of this? So what you're being invited to let go of, we've got the Eight of Pentacles, which is represented by the Apprentice. And we've got somebody working really hard, and they've got this stack of pentacles that they've been working on. So clearly you've been working on something for a really long time. Pile one, maybe you're a student. Maybe you were learning a new skill or a craft or some sort of field of expertise, and you've been working and working at it, and you're not able to see a future to it. And what's really hard is when we've invested a lot of time and energy into something and we come to the realization that maybe it's not for us, there's a lot of grief involved, especially if we think, well, God, I invested all of this time, maybe money, maybe energy, years of your life. Whatever it is, if it doesn't feel like a good fit anymore, that is the pressure of the decision that needs to be made. Now, where you're at right now, Nine of Swords, you're suffering in silence. You're afraid to talk about this. Maybe you're embarrassed. Maybe there's shame. Maybe you had built up this aspect of your life that it's really hard for you now to separate your identity from your accomplishments. Remember that you are a being in constant evolution. You're constantly changing and transforming. And if a particular goal ends up not being something that you really want to work towards anymore, that's okay. It's your life. So whether you choose to share it with somebody or not, just remember that the people who love you the most are going to support you, even if you decide to take a step back from something that you were working at. So when I see the Nine of Swords, that definitely tells me that you've got a great deal of anxiety, perhaps even depression, fears, worries, all built up inside of you. This is a huge sign you need to let it out. So if you don't feel comfortable talking about what you're going through, maybe you could draw, maybe you could write about it, maybe you could sing, or maybe you could scream into a pillow, but that energy has to come out. That's going to be step one for you. The challenge is that you're walking on eggshells. The challenge is that you're stuck in a mental prison. And there is definitely an aspect of you needing to claim your power, speak your truth, and get the heck out of this toxic situation, whatever it is. Maybe you're making yourself miserable, or maybe somebody else is making you miserable. Clearly, change needs to happen. So don't let the amount of time that you invested in this thing or this person or this path, don't let that time that you invested hold you back from changing your mind. The time in the future is going to pass anyways. If you'd like to make a shift to a path that you feel more comfortable with, claim that power and claim that choice. Now, when I asked what your guides see about the bigger picture that maybe you're not aware of, they want you to know that you are enough. No matter what you do, no matter what path you take, no matter what choice you make or road you walk, you are enough. You have always been enough. And you don't need somebody else's validation to make you enough. The other thing too is that if you experience some sort of hiccup in life, it's really important that you are your own best cheerleader. When I see the Eight of Swords as your obstacle, that tells me that maybe you're being really, really hard on yourself. And honestly, that is not going to get you anywhere good. I promise. I've tried that. When we beat ourselves up, we end up raw and not ready to make a healthy change. So please, please, please stop beating yourself up. Remember that you are enough and you have always been enough, and that the success that you seek, it is in your future. And if you choose to take a different path to get there, all the power to you. It's your life. Nobody else can tell you what's right for your life. Only you can. So the path that you're walking and an actionable step for you is you got to let those feelings out. Everything that you've been holding deep inside, this looks like you need a really good cry. We've got the Ace of Cups here. And that tells us that there is a new beginning behind you owning your emotions and letting them out. So definitely resounding advice here is whatever you've got tight inside of you, when you let it out, you're going to find the solution, you're going to find the exit door, and you're going to find the truth of what needs to happen. So let your feelings out. In the future, what I see behind this, or ahead of this, when you step into that exit door and when you make this change that you're thinking about making, I see the Queen of Cups for you, which means that there's going to be a sense that you are back in alignment with your highest path, that you feel good about yourself, you feel good about trusting your gut. If there is a question about whether or not you should trust your gut or listen to your heart, the answer is yes, definitely listen to your heart. The Queen of Cups says that your feelings matter. 110,000%. Your feelings matter, and everything that you're experiencing is real. It is real. You're not making it up. You're not making a big deal out of things. You're not too sensitive. Whatever's going on for you, your feelings matter and you matter. So create that safe space to be able to let your feelings out. And you already know what change you need to make. You've just been holding yourself back because of either your expectations or other people's expectations. There's definitely a fear of how people see you or how they might perceive you. The answer that you're looking for is going to be found deep, deep inside. So you got to forget about what other people think and do what feels right for you. So if you feel stuck in a prison, run. If you feel like you've made choices that you're not super excited about following through on, let it go. Say no thank you, or say sorry, I can't do this anymore. So definitely whatever needs to come crashing down, it's coming crashing down. I definitely see that this has been coming for a long time, and it's just about making that final decision to say, okay, this is what's happening. I'm going to tear it down to the ground and I'm going to start over. So a fresh reset, a total refresh for you is exactly what's in the cards. Now, what I'm going to do next is pull a couple of oracle cards for you. First oracle card here, this is from the deck, the Shaman's Dream. It's going to be like the angel on your shoulder. And this one is the Deep, Dark, and Dangerous Oracle. This is like the devil on your shoulder. So what does the devil on your shoulder say? Spirit team, please tap us into pile 1. How are they possibly making themselves more stuck? What is the devil on their shoulder saying? How are you potentially holding yourself back or getting stuck in a negative pattern? Spirit team, please tap us into pile 1. Okay, so there's a part of you, we've got the freedom card. This is the Selkie. This is the legend of almost like a mermaid, but they were women who were part seal. And their legend was that they came onto shore, and if a man stole their seal suit when they were transformed into a human, that they could never go back to their original form. This card tells me that there's some sort of mask, there's some sort of identity that you took on because you thought it was going to get you where you wanted to be. And there's an element of you identifying with a role that you wanted to take on, or a class you wanted to take, or a path, or a field of expertise. Maybe it was a career, maybe it's a relationship that looks great on the outside but doesn't feel good on the inside. You've lost yourself. You've lost your identity. And the more that you hold on to this identity that isn't really you, that's what's keeping you stuck. So Spirit team, please tap us into pile 1. What does the angel on their shoulder say? Spirit team, please tap us into pile 1. What does the angel on their shoulder say? What do you know to be the truth deep down in your heart? The crossing, initiation. Fear is holding you back. This is like the pillars in the never-ending story, and the main character knew that they had to walk through these Sphinx towers. But what happens is, if you're approaching the Sphinxes and you're full of fear, laser beams will come out of their eyes and shoot you dead. And so you are full of fear. You're afraid to cross this boundary and say, enough's enough, I can't do this anymore. But you know what? As soon as you do, you're going to cross into a whole new realm of your life, of your confidence, and your ability to trust yourself and love yourself. This is a period of initiation for you. Once you take that leap that you know you're supposed to do, you're going to feel a million times better. And all of that fear, all of that anxiety that led you to this decision, it's going to be released. Trust your gut, face your fear. Doesn't mean being without fear. It just means facing your fear and being courageous, and doing what you need to do to live your best life and truly be happy inside. The crossing initiation. Well, thanks for being here. Make sure to give a thumbs up and a like and subscribe to my channel for more of my videos. I wish you guys all the best. Have a wonderful day. Hello, Pile 2. Welcome to your reading. You chose the Citrine stone. Now, I want to apologize in advance. I am doing this reading outside. My neighbors have really barky dogs. I hope that it doesn't bother the sound quality or your ability to follow along with the reading. But we are outside, so we will just go with the flow. So you chose the Citrine stone. The focus of today's reading is, what is the wheel of change that you are currently riding? What is your exit door? What is holding you back? What do your guides see about the bigger picture? And what actionable steps can you take to move forwards and walk your highest path? So Spirit Team, please tap us into the collective of my pile number 2s. Pile number 2. Where are you guys at right now, and what is the obstacle you are currently wrestling with? And Spirit Team, please tap us into what pile 2s need to release and let go of. And what do you guys see about the bigger picture? What path? Oh, we got a jumper. And that's the what path are you walking? And then what does the future look like beyond this decision? Oh, we have 2 cards. All right, at the bottom of the deck, pile 2, we have the King of Pentacles, which tells me there's a really strong focus on your 3rd dimensional reality right now. Whether it's having enough resources to get you by, maybe you're just a slave to your job or a slave to what you've created in your life. Huge focus on finances, resources, food, maybe even overdoing it with food or drink. Definitely hinting towards a sense of unhealthy balance. Something's out of balance, and it's definitely a huge focus on the tangible and really forgetting about the ethereal, maybe how things feel. Sometimes we become slaves to our jobs and forget to nurture our personal relationships, or take a day off and relax and put our feet up. So there's definitely a sense that you're overdoing something and working really hard towards a goal, but I definitely sense kind of exhaustion, feeling a little bit, a sense of disassociation, like turning into a machine and forgetting about spirit kind of vibe. So when I pulled the first card for you, we have another king. Now the King of Cups represents overmastery when it comes to the water element. And I'm so sorry about my neighbor's dog. When I see the King of Cups, that means that our emotions have gotten too strong and too big, and we don't really know what to do about them. So we kind of either self-isolate. People will say, hey, how you doing? And be like, I'm fine, I'm good. Because it's just too hard to tap into that huge well of emotions that goes, I am not okay, right? So you're mastering your emotions, but at what cost? Are you just going la 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 to how you feel because you've got bills to pay and you've got a job to do? That's not sustainable, and I think you already know that. And when I asked about the challenge that you're really struggling with right now, we've got the Nine of Wands, which is you're really guarded. That you've kind of given up hope in a lot of ways. Either you've lost faith in humanity, maybe you've lost hope for things getting better. And there's a very rigid, whatever, I just have to do what I have to do. You've disconnected your heart. You've focused completely on the third dimension. And there's a sense of really feeling stuck, really losing sight of what truly makes you happy. Losing hope, losing magic, definitely, like all of those senses. And you're not letting anybody in. You're not talking about what's going on. You're not sharing. You're not getting it off your chest. You're just going, la, 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 it's fine, whatever. Just got to do what I got to do. And again, that's not healthy and that's not sustainable. So when I asked, what is it that you're letting go of? It's interesting because we have a really positive card here. This is the star. It represents healing, but it also represents coming into a place in our lives where we're super comfortable being our authentic self. Anytime we see nakedness in the tarot, it simply represents that we're not hiding anything, that we are truly living our authentic lives. Now, to see this in the past tells me that recently you went through a healing, you went through an awakening, you went through a huge emotional release. But what happened? Is there all of a sudden a snap back to reality where we're like, wow, that was a beautiful dream, but it doesn't feel real? Yes, I tuned into my heart's truest desires and who I want to be in this lifetime, but I got bills I gotta pay. So there's a sense that you lost the magic, that you used to see it, you used to feel it. At one point you felt so connected to spirit, and now you just feel kind of lost in space. So what sort of actionable steps can you take right now? The Three of Cups suggests that you need to have more in-person contact. Now, sometimes feeling isolated is definitely not by choice, but if in any way it is by choice, that you've taken a step back, maybe you're not taking days off, maybe you're not really hanging out with your friends anymore, the Three of Cups suggests that you need more joy in your life. And that doesn't mean you have to plan a vacation to Disneyland. Joy in your life could simply be having a special coffee and driving to a nice place and enjoying your coffee, sitting in your car thinking about life, maybe playing your favorite song on the radio. You need more joy in your life, and it doesn't have to be grand or majestic or anything like that. It can be just taking a moment or 10 moments every day to go, wow, what a beautiful day. Or wow, it's nice to see the flowers, it's nice to hear the birds singing. Try and steal as many little moments of gratitude as you can to come back to the magic. Now, I asked what your guides and angels see about the bigger picture, that maybe you're too stuck in it to see for yourself. And the Two of Pentacles suggests that you've got way too much on your hands, but at the same time, as soon as you make money, it's in one hand and out the other. So how can you simplify your life? How can you reduce expenses? How can you work smarter, not harder? Is it possible that by taking more days off, you'll actually be in a better frame of mind to be fully present? Another adjustment you could make to your schedule is, instead of working, say, 5 8-hour days, you could work 4 10-hour days and have 3 whole days off. Sometimes it's a tiny little tweak to our schedule that allows us to feel better, or maybe spend less, or maybe make more efficient use of our time. Your hands are way too full right now, so if you are overcommitted, see what you can do to take a step back. If you're spending money like crazy, see what you can do to reduce expenses. Get rid of that Netflix subscription, or if you're having a hard time making ends meet, that is a pretty classic thing right now, and honestly nothing I say is going to make that better, but this card suggests that everything that you've got going on right now is coming at the expense of your emotional health. Now, you can't neglect this vessel, this body that carries you through this lifetime. I sense burnout on the horizon. So on that note, though, there is something really important that you're about to realize about your financial situation. And it's about less chasing and more attracting. Now, I don't believe in toxic positivity, but I do believe that our frame of mind directly influences the reality that we experience. If I am in a super terrible mood, that's when I'm going to accidentally run into a door or stub my toe on some furniture or drop my coffee because I was already there. So if you can practice noticing what kind of momentum are you in the middle of, and if it's negative momentum, take 2 minutes out of your day to just, let's just sit for a second. Let's just take some deep breaths and think about one thing that we're grateful for, one thing that makes us happy. It could be a happy memory. It could be the smell of the coffee in front of us. Definitely slow down, take a deep breath, and don't push yourself so hard. You're definitely pushing yourself towards burnout. However, I do see a light at the end of the tunnel. I see something major shifting for you in the future. We have the Wheel of Fortune showing that the moment that you've been waiting for is right around the corner. There is light at the end of the tunnel. However, for some of you, it's going to mean taking a step back from chasing. We've got the Nine of Pentacles, which represents receiving. Being in that position of, okay, I've worked so hard, now I get to watch all that profit come in. Now I get to watch my business succeed. Now I get to receive that promotion that I was really working for, right? So the Nine of Pentacles tells me that in your future, there is definitely going to be more rest, more relaxation, and more financial abundance. Now, for some of you, it's going to be because you stopped stressing yourself out so much. And for some of you, it's going to be because you finally hit that finish line of what you were working for. So definitely keep in mind, though, that if you don't have a finish line ahead of you, then your actionable steps need to include taking more time off and feeding your soul. And if there is a finish line in front of you, you're almost there, and the reward is going to be totally worth it. But just remember, we cannot neglect spirit. We cannot neglect our emotional health in the name of making money or chasing a goal that in the end is going to exhaust us or deplete us. So to finish up your reading pile 2, we've got 2 oracle decks here. This one is the Shaman's Dream, and this one is the Deep, Dark, and Dangerous Oracle. We're going to start with the Deep, Dark, and Dangerous Oracle, and we're going to pull a card for you guys about how are you potentially perpetuating this negative cycle. This is like the devil on your shoulder. So Spirit Team, please tap us into pile 2 and how they are potentially perpetuating a negative cycle for themselves. What is the devil on their shoulder saying? Sovereignty, the Morrigan. You are on a path of claiming your space, claiming your power, channeling your energy into a really, really important goal for yourself. But the question that comes up is, at what cost? If you are so focused on being this laser beam as you barrel yourself through life, forgetting about everything else and only having this single-minded focus on your goal, then at what cost? Will you lose your personal relationships? Will you sacrifice your health and well-being? So consider that you are on a path of manifesting your goals, but it's important to stop for a second and think, am I being too narrow-minded with my focus? Am I sacrificing the things in life that really make life sweet and enjoyable? Am I sacrificing that deliciousness of life to accomplish some sort of material goal that maybe when you get there, it's not even going to mean as much to you? Don't neglect the heart in the name of pursuing your goals, and don't ever, ever step into the realm of being dishonorable to accomplish your goals either. That's the devil on your shoulder. Now, the angel on your shoulder, we're going to pull a card from the Shaman's Dream. Spirit Team, please tap us into pile number 2 and the angel on their shoulder. How are they walking in the light and creating a future that really embraces their highest path? Ooh. Are we keeping both? Okay. So for you guys, I pulled the Jeweled Web, connectivity. Again, tapping into, the Morrigan, and where there's sovereignty, that's an energy of me, my goals, my dreams, my profit kind of vibe. Whereas the jeweled web of connectivity from this deck suggests that it may seem counterintuitive, but the more that you give, the more that you share the wealth, the more that you pause for a second and reflect and perhaps support your fellow community members in whatever way that looks like. If you remember that we are all one energy, experiencing life subjectively, that is the message that you might be neglecting a little bit. So don't be so narrow-minded in your focus that you forget about the little guy, or you forget about the people that got you to that place of success. There's an element of also every now and then you kind of need to ask for help, but maybe your pride is getting in the way. This card also suggests that it's okay to ask for help. And if it's not something that you feel comfortable with, perhaps you could do a little coaching exchange with somebody you know. Hey, I need help with this, and I would love to be able to offer you help with what you need. So definitely don't forget the web of connectivity. There's support for you there, and you can also offer support to other people in a way that's really needed right now. So thanks so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe to follow for all my future videos, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Hi Pile 3, you chose the Amethyst. Welcome to your reading. Today we are looking at what wheel of change are you in the middle of? What sort of waves are you riding from the infinite pulse of the universe that is carrying you forwards, but perhaps feeling a wee bit stuck right now? So if you feel stuck in a loop, this reading is for you. Spirit team, please tap us into our pile number 3s and the obstacle that they are really struggling with right now. What are they learning to leave behind? What are my pile number 3s leaving behind? And what are they moving towards? What are they embracing? Spirit team, please tap us into the future of my pile number 3s, beyond this challenge, beyond this period of time. And what is the bigger picture that you guys can see? Spirit team, what is the bigger picture you see for my pile 3s? What is the bigger picture you see for my pile 3s? Ooh, are we keeping this? No. Okay. And what is the actionable path that they can take? All right. At the bottom of the deck, pile 3s, we have the Queen of Cups that tells me that you are in the process of really getting in touch with your feelings. For some of you, that looks like tapping into your intuition in a way that you really haven't before. Learning and growing, listening to your body, listening to your heart. For some of you, it's about validating your emotions. It's about saying, hey, I actually don't feel okay with this, and then acting accordingly by setting a boundary, by speaking your truth, or perhaps closing a door that used to be open. So this definitely is a cool card to start with, because this tells me that you're very heart-centered, you're nurturing, you're compassionate, you might even be psychic or empathic, and the way that you are really tapping into all of those gifts that you have, those water element gifts, is by holding space for yourself in a way that you typically hold for other people. You're finally turning that inwards and holding space for yourself. So right on, you guys. Now, where you're at right now, feeling a little bit raw, feeling a little bit vulnerable. Perhaps this healing journey that you're on right now, represented by the star here, means that you've just come out of a period of complete and total deconstruction. In the recent past, maybe even last couple of years or so, there's been a period of crisis or things falling apart. Maybe it was even trauma, but all that deconstruction brought you to where you're at right now. You know who you are. You feel your spirit so much more strongly, but there's an element of feeling kind of raw or vulnerable. And in order to preserve this healing that you've achieved, what you need to do is set up some really strong boundaries in your life where you feel safe to continue being your authentic self. And if you still have people in your life that make you feel uncomfortable, make you feel unworthy, maybe even make you feel unlovable, those people need to go. They're so 2008, right? So the star card here tells me that you really are walking your highest path. But sometimes when we eliminate the negative in our lives, before we really embrace the positive, there's this sense of like a vacuum of like, wow, I really don't have many friends right now, or my heart feels really raw and open right now. So whatever it is, be gentle with yourself and be patient with yourself during this time. Now your challenge is continuing to see the beauty in the chaos. We have the Hanged Man saying that in a lot of ways you feel stuck and you're trying really hard to surrender and go with the flow, but there's an element of feeling impatient or angry or frustrated. Like, why do I feel stuck still? Given that I've done all this growth, I've done all this healing, why aren't things magically better yet? Well, the bigger picture that your guides can see that perhaps you can't see because you're really stuck in it is that there's an element of self-directedness. What you left behind was, in a lot of ways, feeling like life was kind of happening to you. You were represented by the King of Wands. There was a very ego-centered experience happening there. Well, I am this and I want this and this is who I am in the context of this world around me. And you saw it all from the perspective of identity. Either this is me or this is not me. But what's happening now is you're realizing that who you are is different every minute of the day. Every day of the week. You know, as years go by, you're a completely different person now than you were back then. So you're going through an ego death right now, but again, I feel like the most traumatic part of it is behind you. What you're doing now is reestablishing who you are, again, in the context of this reality. Well, I got a question for you. What if who you are was defined by how you feel, not by what you see outside of you? The answers you're looking for are coming from within, and you're being invited to get behind the driver's wheel of your life and say, this is what I want. Now, in the past, you saw that kind of behavior from yourself and from other people as maybe being egotistic or maybe being selfish. But there's a healthy level of selfish that we do need to embrace on some level. Otherwise, life just runs us over like a dump truck, right? So there is an element of self-preservation and standing up for yourself. And the path that you're walking right now is of learning when it's healthy to be selfish and say, this feels good or this doesn't feel good, as opposed to an unhealthy level of selfish where we say me first and we forget about the collective. You are learning how to tap back into your magic. Now, for some of you, this is new, completely brand new. And for some of you in the past, you kind of turned off your magic because maybe you were made to feel like it was silly, or maybe somebody made fun of you for it, or there's an element of hiding your magic in the past because you wanted to be a certain kind of person. Now you're not trying to be anybody else but yourself. And that is yours to create. So there's an element of perhaps even isolating yourself just a wee bit, but the path that I see opening up for you is not necessarily of complete isolation, just walking away from anyone or anything that makes you feel unlovable, unworthy, or just like you're not good enough, right? So the Eight of Cups shows up when we have to choose self-preservation over emotions and emotional investments, right? Say we've been besties with somebody for a decade, and maybe 10 years ago, you guys were perfect for each other. It's just like peanut butter and jelly, right? But 10 years later, what if you changed and the other person didn't? Maybe you're walking a path of being healthy, but your bestie is still drinking, still partying and stuff like that. That's when you have to choose self-preservation over emotional investment. So recognizing for yourself that this feels good or this doesn't. This is bringing me to the ideal reality that I want to create, or maybe this is taking me on a total side quest that's not going to be for my highest good. That's your call. 100%. But if something or someone in your life is emptying your cup faster than you can refill it, that's a bad sign. Self-preservation. It's not, what do I want to say here? It's not unreasonable to walk away from anything that makes you feel like garbage, no matter how much time, no matter how much love you've invested into that person or place or thing. If it makes you feel like garbage, it's not for you anymore. Thank you, next, right? Now, the future that's opening up for you is feeling 110% comfortable in your skin, in your life, with your dreams, with your ideas, with every aspect of your being, loving yourself unconditionally, and from that place, birthing a whole new reality. But it's going to be very hard for you to love yourself unconditionally if you still have haters in your life, right? It's time to really clean out that friends list. Your future looks absolutely amazing, so keep being a healthy level of selfish, and pay attention to your feelings. Don't neglect your feelings. Your feelings matter, and your feelings are a compass getting you to exactly where you want to be in life. So to finish up this reading, we have a card for you from two different oracle decks. We have the Deep, Dark, and Dangerous oracle deck that's going to show us the shadow side, or maybe like the devil on your shoulder. And then we have the Shaman's Dream oracle that is going to show us the angel on your shoulder and what the highest path in your situation is. So let's start with the Deep, Dark, and Dangerous oracle, shall we? Spirit team, please tap us in to our pile number 3s and the shadow. Ooh, that was fast. We have Hypnos representing death. Or, sorry, it says representing rest. What I was thinking inside of my head is that there's a Sith here, like the one that death holds. And it's two people pictured. One of them has wings, and one of them is dressed in a very dark and somber outfit. This is essentially reflecting exactly what I was saying, that there's somebody in your life that you love with all your heart, but they are just not walking the same path as you right now. And that's okay if you're able to insulate yourself. But if you have somebody in your life that is essentially drilling holes in your lifeboat, and every time you spend time with them, you've got to bail out the water so that you yourself don't sink, can't do it anymore. There's a time for rest. There's a time for going deep within and recognizing where you might be hypnotized by another person into believing that they're good for you when in fact they are very much so not good for you. Pay attention to the truth that comes from your gut and comes from your heart, and pay attention to when people's words don't match up with their actions. Now the angel on your shoulder, pile 3. Spirit team, please tap us into pile number 3 and the angel on their shoulder. What do they know they need to do, but maybe they just need a little nudge? What is the highest path for my pile number 3s? What is the highest path for my pile number 3s? In the hand, the universe is your partner. So very clearly here we have a message that you are afraid to let go of a negative relationship because you are worried, what if I don't have anybody else? No matter where you are in life, no matter what you're doing in life, universe, the force, God, spirit, whatever you want to call it, is holding you in their hand. You are always, always, always loved unconditionally. And you don't have to chase the attention or the approval or the validation of another human being if that process, that path, that experience, that relationship makes you feel sick to your stomach. The universe has you. Trust. Trust that you can let go of anything unhealthy, anything toxic, anything that's making you feel like the life is being sucked out of you. If you have energy vampires in your life, it is time to put the hammer down. There is a beautiful, beautiful future for you on the other side of this, so don't be afraid to let go. If it doesn't feel good, walk away. Please. You'll thank yourself for it. In the hand, the universe is your partner. Well, thanks for being here. Make sure to like and subscribe so you're updated with all my future videos, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Hi Pile 4s, welcome to your reading. You chose the Cherry Blossom Agate, and we are going to start with the Rider-Waite Tarot today. So today we're looking at what wheel of change are you in right now? And maybe you're feeling stuck in a loop. Maybe you're not quite sure where this change is leading to. Maybe you're having a hard time letting go of the past so that you can welcome in the future. We are going to have a look at what wheel of change you are riding right now. So Spirit Team, please tap us into the collective of my pile number 4s and the wheel of change that they are experiencing right now. Ooh. And how are my pile number 4s held back? What are my pile number 4s letting go of and leaving in the past? And what are my pile 4s moving towards in the future? What can my pile number 4's Spirit Team see about the bigger picture? And what path are you guys walking? What actionable steps will bring you closer to your goals? Okay. At the bottom of the deck, we have the Star. And the Star is a really beautiful card in the tarot. It represents healing, especially after trauma or crisis or feeling like our lives are falling apart. It's that rainbow after the storm. It's that peace after chaos. And there's a part of us that feels really raw and potentially even unsure of like, is this peace even going to last? But the fact of the matter is that you are more in touch with who you truly are in this lifetime and throughout all lifetimes. You have come back to the core of your experience, your spirit, your energy. So anything that you can do right now to capture this moment in time, including the realizations that you've made, the progress that you've made, maybe by journaling, maybe by a sound recording to yourself, a little, digital diary, whatever you can do to mark this time and make notes of what you learned and how you see yourself more clearly. I'm definitely being told to share with you, capture this in whatever way you possibly can, because the realizations you have right now are universal truths that will resonate for the rest of your life. And so if you're feeling raw, be picky about who you spend time with, because you don't want to lose this magic. You don't want to lose these realizations. Now, it's not like anybody's going to magically catapult you backwards 10 years, but I'm sorry, the ravens that I feed are kind of yelling at me right now because I moved their food bowl. The Star came through to let you know that you have really, really embraced this path of healing, and your guides want you to know that they see that, and they're really, really proud of the healing that you are working on, you're in the middle of. Maybe you feel like you're in the middle of the yuck, but this is leading to beautiful things, and this is leading to you being more authentically yourself. So keep it up. Now, what you did learn in the recent past and what you're kind of letting go of is that protective bubble that you did place around yourself as you began your healing process. Maybe you cut off friends, maybe you changed your life, maybe you let go of toxic people that were holding you back. But you did learn how to create this protective bubble. Now you're ready to emerge from that bubble. Now you're ready, maybe you don't feel ready. Now it's time to start testing the waters of being your authentic self, even when you're not, completely protected by a hard exterior shell. It's time to bring that authentic self out into real life. But what is that going to look like? Well, the first card that I pulled for you is the Ace of Pentacles, telling me that you have changed almost literally everything in your life. It could be like a combination of new job, new new look, new you. Maybe you're living in a new place, maybe you're dating a new person. But the Ace of Pentacles tells me that this huge sweeping change in your life has encompassed like a lot of different aspects: friends, relationships, career, self-perception. But the core theme here is that you are far healthier now than you've ever been before. So keep it up and give yourself a pat on the back for all the hard work that you've done. Now, speaking of hard work that you've done, I asked about your obstacles, and we have the Eight of Pentacles here saying that you have been working on this really hard for a really long time, and yet somehow, some way, you still feel like your old self. Well, sometimes our self-perception is so limited by the people around us that if we still have those old people around us, they're probably only ever going to see the old us. And maybe what needs to happen for you is to give yourself permission to be different. Give yourself permission to be a completely different person. Maybe you've taken on a new name. Maybe you've changed your name and moved to a new country. There's definitely an element of the final pieces of letting go of that old identity. And maybe you're having a hard time seeing how far you've come. So anything you can do, sometimes when I look in my like Facebook memories and I see something I wrote a few years ago and I go, oh my God, that's so cringeworthy. That's a good sign, because that means I grew. So anything you can do to look back on your past and go, okay, wow, yeah, I am completely different than I was 6 months ago, a year ago, 10 years ago. There's an element of you need to be able to create that space to pause and reflect and look backwards, and then you're gonna see it. And maybe just maybe, it's gonna be the kind of thing where you enter into a situation and you get triggered, and then you have this moment of realizing, oh wow, I didn't respond in the way that I used to. I didn't get sucked into that situation there. I kept my chin up, I kept my shoulders back, and I let it slide, and I kept on going. So whatever your realization is of, hey, wait a minute, things are different, that's kind of how you feel lost right now. Your guides see you as having made like extreme progress, but there's an element of you not quite seeing it for yourself. So whatever you can do to create those moments of realization, do it, because you're going to be like, oh damn, I'm doing a lot better than I thought I was. The bigger picture that your guides can see is that you are still protecting yourself from the fear that you are going to continue encountering the same BS, the same problems, the same obstacles. You haven't quite settled into this realization of you are a different person. You're reacting differently. You're perceiving things differently. You're loving yourself differently. So what your guides and angels can see is that there's an element of kind of being wound up too tight. You're still way too hard on yourself. And if you are able to make sure that your inner space is a safe space, then you can go anywhere in the world and feel safe. And what that looks like for you is opening up to new friendships, new interactions, maybe a new romance, whatever it is that you took a step back from for a really long time and you've been afraid of testing the waters again. That's what I'm seeing is it's time for. There's something that you're ready to re-enter, but you're worried that that situation or maybe that person is going to trigger you into going back to your old ways. So trust yourself, nurture that safe inner space, and when you're ready, give yourself that little push to test the waters and try something new. Because, you know, we can all be a guru at the top of the mountain, but the test is when we come back into society and we have to deal with real life stuff. So it's time for you to come off of your meditation mountain and essentially reintroduce yourself to triggering things, triggering situations, because what you're going to see is you're going to see that you are vastly different. You have healed, you have grown. You're not perfect, but you're leaps and bounds and miles away from where you used to be. And I feel like you kind of need that self-validation. It's not something anybody else is going to give you. It's something that you're going to notice in yourself, and you're going to go, all right, hey, okay, I rocked that. I passed that test, that kind of thing. So the path that you're walking, including actionable steps, is continuing to walk away from anyone, anything, any place that makes you feel like garbage. And the Eight of Cups comes up especially when it is a familiar place or a familiar person. And perhaps you've been pouring love and pouring energy into this place or this person or this situation. And when you come home, you're like, man, that was deeply exhausting. I need space to recover from that interaction or that situation. So if you feel like you have any energy vampires in your life, you gotta cut that off and create space where nobody is drilling holes in your lifeboat, right? You need to take care of yourself. Self-preservation is the name of the game. It's not so much when I see the Page of Pentacles, one of your biggest things right now is just be here now. Be in the moment, be present. It's not so much that there's any new goals or any new healing that you need to do or anything like that. It's just simply about being present in the moment and continuing to craft a life that you don't have to hide from, including the people that you interact with. So if your guard is still up, that means that you haven't sifted through your friends list enough that you feel genuinely safe to let your guard down. Does that make sense? So that's really all it is. It's completing the setting of boundaries. Because the more you create that safe space, the more you're going to realize, okay, wait, I really have grown exponentially. And then the future that is opening up for you, we have the Magician, which is manifestation. It is coming into a place where you believe in yourself 110%, and what you hope to manifest comes that much more quickly because you don't have the doubt. So anything in your life that's creating doubt needs to be eliminated. The inner process that you're going through, I feel like you pretty well believe in yourself. It's just that the occasional hater or doubter puts seeds in your brain and then you kind of pull yourself back. Your future involves being a little bit selfish in your goals, saying, well, this is how I feel. I'm not going to compromise my happiness or my health or my well-being because somebody tells me I shouldn't feel that way. You know what I mean? So self-directed future, believe in yourself, pursue those goals, and eliminate out of your life anything that makes you feel unworthy or unlovable. And I see you reclaiming your magic. I see you reclaiming your power and reclaiming your lust for life. So keep it up. Definitely the hard work is behind you. It's simply a matter of putting things into practice. It's like you already know what to do, but it's just about putting it into practice, right? So to finish up your reading, pile 4, we have some oracle cards for you. We have the Deep, Dark, and Dangerous Oracle that is going to show us what shadow you might be a little bit stuck in still, kind of like the devil on your shoulder. And we have the Shaman's Dream Oracle, kind of like the angel on your shoulder. What is the highest path that is opening up for you right now? So let's start with the Deep, Dark, and Dangerous Oracle. Spirit team, please tap us into my pile number 4s. And the shadow they are currently stuck in, any negative patterns that they are perpetuating. What do they need to see about their shadow? Oh, this is funny. The name of this, I don't know how to pronounce it, but it looks like it says Erin, yes. Erin's vengeance. So one thing that holds us back from healing is that constant desire to go backwards and either say that thing that makes the person understand our perspective, or our desire to personally witness somebody experience the karma that we believe that they should experience because they incurred it. That keeps us anchored in the past because we keep thinking about how we've been wounded, how we've been slighted, and how, on top of that, somebody or something should pay. Why do we believe that somebody or something should pay? Well, it comes from a feeling that something has been taken from us, therefore justice needs to be served. But the thing about justice is blind, and karma often extends throughout multiple lifetimes. If we get stuck trying to enforce or make sure karma is enforced, then we are outsourcing our one job in this lifetime. Our one job in this lifetime is to live our lives, right? Is karma in my job description? Is somebody else's karmic return in my job description? Absolutely not. I can have my opinion. You can have your opinion. Your experience is valid. Your feelings are valid. Anytime the desire for vengeance is brought up in us, oh, that's valid. But you have to stop yourself and say, you know what? Vengeance is not in my job description. What is in my job description is growing and healing and living my life. and it's uncomfortable, but you got to remember, vengeance is not in your highest path, and it's not, karma is not in your job description. Now the angel on your shoulder. So team, please tap us into pile number 4 and the angel on their shoulder. What do they need to hear right now about the highest path? Highest path opening up for them. The path of growth, the path of healing. Ooh, Moon Maiden, new beginnings. This is a beautiful card. Again, saying your feelings are valid. And what you can do with the experience that you had is you can use it as a red flag or a BS detector. You can learn from your past experiences and say, okay, next time I see this, I am going to see it with absolute clarity. I'm not going to ignore it, but I am going to distance myself from it, or I'm going to run from it, or I'm going to create a boundary that keeps me safe from it. When we see the Moon Maiden come up, representing new beginnings, it also ties into the new moon in Cancer that we just had. Cancer, the zodiac sign Cancer, is ruled by the moon. We just had a new moon in Cancer. This is a time of new beginnings, of healing our hearts, but the way that we really continue the momentum of healing is by creating safe boundaries in our lives that hopefully prevent those old things from happening. You know, maybe new things will happen, but that's a story for another day, right? We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. What you need to do right now is trust that your healing path is going to make sure that you are on your highest path. And worrying about other people's paths and worrying about other people's karma is only going to distract you and stir up a lot of negative emotions. So those negative emotions that you experienced and continue to experience, those are real, those are valid. Don't get mad at yourself for feeling bad. That's not helpful. But what you can do is go, oh, I'm noticing right now that I'm stuck in a thought loop that might include vengeance. What can I do to balance that out and realign myself with a healthy path, a healthy energy, a healthy emotion? And so whatever that is for you, maybe it is having a shower and washing off the yuck. Maybe, and I mean, like, you know how in a shower you can be like, okay, I'm having a crappy day, and you have the shower and you're like, okay, I'm washing away all the stress, I'm washing away all the anger, and by the end of your shower you feel like a new person. Channeling water energy might help you with that. Maybe going for a swim, maybe going for a run. But when those negative emotions come up, just make sure to say, hey, those emotions are valid, but they're not going to take me anywhere good. And then reset yourself to emotions that feel cleansing, feel healing, and feel inspiring. Whatever it takes for you to reset that emotional tuning fork, you got to do it. You got to take responsibility for it, or else you're going to get stuck in a loop. I hope that helped. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you liked your reading, please make sure to like and subscribe so you're updated with all my future videos. Love you guys. Thanks for being here, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.